to our presentation today about enabling SMEs to play like the big ones. I'm Davide Criscione. I'm the founder and CEO of Nearshoring.com and of DC Services, the company Nearshoring.com belongs to. A few words about starting. I spent the largest part of my career, up to now, around 25 years, working for large corporations within the IT, the system market and all. On both sides, being a customer, having been CIO with global responsibilities, and having been for large IT companies, supplier, also with global responsibilities. So I bring with me this view of being customer and being supplier and connecting teams, relationships, and processes, supply chain, the IT world, worldwide. This was my experience with large corporations till a few years ago. And then I decided also to start my dream and to bring these capabilities, making them available for small, medium enterprises. So to leave a little bit the big corporation to start working in a more agile world with shorter decision ways and talking directly to companies which are a bit smaller, agile, and sometimes quicker in implementing new innovations. The topic why we created nearshoring and why we focus on nearshoring comes a little bit from this experience. And the idea is to enable the small, medium enterprises to play like the big ones. That means mainly in terms of scaling up, scaling down resources, and having this flexibility, let's say, from the team building exercise up to the cost, which is the typical flexibility that large enterprises already have. If we look at this picture, we can see the picture is from 2019 on the left side, and it reflects the numbers of free IT resources on the German market at that time, which were, according to Bitkom, 124,000 people were missing on the market. We know in 2020 there's been a year ago a little bit of slowdown because of the Corona crisis, but now, according to what we see from our customers and our suppliers, our delivery partners, the situation is pretty much the same than 1 year ago. So we recovered in terms of speed of projects and also in terms of size of projects. So we are all the industry is running. Why do we think that this part is extremely critical? This fact is extremely critical for small medium enterprises. I know pretty well the market in Munich. This is the city where I live since many years. But I know pretty well also the other cities in Germany. And the situation is that having this big hole in available resources for small medium enterprises is extremely critical, extremely difficult getting to skilled IT people coming from university. Looking at Munich again, yeah, there is a huge fight for every student living with a good note at the university in IT, in the IT domains, from all companies that are discovering themselves being IT companies, like Siemens, which is becoming more and more an IT company, like an Allianz, which is more and more IT. The same is valid for BMW, but also from traditional IT companies like Entity Data, like Salesforce, like Microsoft. All of them are growing very, very fast. For small, medium enterprises, here I think about companies between some 60 people up to some thousand, still in some cases perceived as medium and small enterprises. It's really, really critical getting new people. So very, very difficult. If you look at sometimes at the Gaussian distribution of employees with some of our customers, we see that the peak is around the age of 40, 45, but actually the majority of the people they have in the team is between 40 and 45. This gives, as a consequence, other additional problems also in terms of skills and capabilities linked with it, let's say, with this set of workforces. Because sometimes we miss the newest technologies like artificial intelligence, the newest topic coming up very quickly for the industry. When I talk to customers, we see that the perception of nearshoring or offshoring anyhow, the offshoring is always connected, coming from the picture some years ago, to mainly a way to cut costs and reduce costs. We say it's much more than that. It's actually about surviving on the IT market, because if you are not able to scale up quickly in the time your customer wants you to scale up, somebody else will do, and somebody else will take projects for you. So one of the critical questions we ask typically is, did you already postpone a project, or did you miss revenues because you did not have available resources to staff a project? If the answer is yes, then you are in the critical way. It's not only about missing resources, it's not only about missing revenues and opportunities, it's because somebody else is taking this. Sometimes even the big ones were coming, let's say, a little bit down and eating piece of market share from small, medium enterprises. And somebody is entering within your customer, in your typical customer domain where you may eventually have been for 10 years, and some competitors are entering. So this is very, very critical. And we see here actually that there is a lot of potential which is untapped. And we have defined this as our mission. We understand ourselves, and me as being, I define myself as a European guy. I'm Italian, as let's say the place where I was born and where I grew up. And my roots come only up probably once every 4 years when there is the Soccer World Championship. Yeah, obviously I'm Italian without exception. But for the rest, I understand myself as European, and it's a breed of culture between culture that I know because I'm much pretty close to where I grew up, and the culture coming from Germany and the roots from Germany. And we see that there is this need of building bridges and also trust between different countries. And here, if we do this, we can really make available to customers and to delivery companies from outside a huge potential. In many countries around Germany, like Serbia, Poland, Croatia, Slovenia, Hungary, Bulgaria, there is a beautiful youth, I say, with very aggressive, extremely talented, and all of them willing to go the last mile and extremely very well prepared and skilled in IT. And this industry is coming up, and here we have a huge amount, I would say not huge, but a very, very big amount of people available on the market that are looking for interesting projects. If we look at our home market in Germany, we see that here are the most interesting projects going on in Europe. Being this in automotive, being this in healthcare, being this in insurance. Here we have major companies that are pushing innovations all over the chain. And so we want to bring together these needs here in Germany of needs for innovation and potential for innovation together with the needs of our delivery partners from all the region around us. Why did we focus on nearshoring? Actually, it's really because our key perception is that shoring as a whole exercise is not anymore about saving the last euro on the hourly rate of a consultant. This was the tendency some years ago. It was everything about automation and maintenance of applications, like application maintenance for SAP is a typical area that was outsourced some years ago to Asian countries, starting with India, then moving to Thailand and some other countries very far away. Our experience is now being in agile mode. So with agile developments, it's very, very difficult to work with different time zones. And having also close culture and eventually also the possibility to physically meet, except that we hope that Corona will allow that to us in the next month, is one of the key elements. So we stay within the 2-3 hours. This is the flight. 3 hours just because mainly of Portugal and Turkey, which are very, very interesting countries in terms of available IT resources, and mainly to the other countries which come from Italy up to the right, up to Poland to the right side. Many countries, let's say, border with Germany, where we have a lot of potential that we can make available to our customers. Coming to us, so Nearshoring.com was created a few years ago. Actually, the brand is pretty new. We created the company a few years ago. Now with some partners, what we do, we understand ourselves as agile advisors on sourcing topics. And we consult our customers on their trip to nearshoring. We see quite often that the approach is done by customers in a very tactical way, selecting countries depending on some tactical reasons, like where I know somebody, and not really coming from what is the vertical industry I'm serving, which kind of data I'm looking with. I'm working for in public domain, and working in healthcare domain, and working in banking domain. So also coming from the aspects of the data, and then taking into consideration if one country is a NATO country, is a European country, is a candidate coming to the European Union, or if we also want to work with customers, with some delivery partners, for instance, from Belarus, we also have in our network. We consult our customers in the overall trip, in the business planning, also in the implementation, but we also support them building up new teams. And we come up with a model that is called BOT, which is also sometimes new, is the idea to create an own delivery center abroad. And we can support our customers to realize this through the best ways to do this through a local partner who can act as a kind of shared service organization on site. In addition, and this is we're not being the core part of our activities, it's still a relevant part of our business, is providing short-term resources, short-term in terms of when we make them available. We have today approach to around 6,000 consultants in the nearshoring countries. We are planning to double this within the next months. We already have some companies which are in our internal due diligence process to become partners of Nearshoring.com. So let's say Nearshoring.com certified partners. This is on the way to happen. And this is a little bit the network, the amount of capabilities that we can bring to our customers. So we can, we have a broad spectrum of technical skills available, going from embedded IT, which is obviously the core topic today, around automotive, healthcare with certified people and very, very vertical consultants on the two markets, going down to the more traditional SAP, to the more traditional software development in web and the mobile applications. The last, if I can mention in the 10 minutes of our presentation, is why choosing us, why Nearshoring.com. We are, according to our information, we have been looking at the market obviously for a while, and we are in the market since a while. We are the only independent advisor. We do not belong to anybody. So we're not also linked to any of our delivery partners in the regions, in the nearshoring regions, and so therefore we're totally free to find for our customer, we say, the best fitting solution, identifying exactly the need for your process, for your project, sorry, and then bringing you forward in your nearshoring endeavor. So if nearshoring is for you a topic, if you have already lost some revenues because you do not have the resources, if you have difficulties finding resources, we are available to talk. Please reach out to us, Davide Criscione at Nearshoring.com or at info@nearshoring.com. We will be glad to talk to you and to exchange first ideas about your current status and what our experience says, what next steps. Thank you for attending the teleconference, and wish to meet you soon, either here at the exhibition or also later through our normal, let's say, meetings, telco, eventually even personal within the next few.